Once upon a time in a faraway land, there was a young boy who lived with his grandfather in a cozy cottage deep within an ancient forest. Every night before bed, the old man would tell his grandson captivating stories about the mystical creatures that inhabited the woods, igniting the boy's imagination and love for nature. One day, the grandfather gifted his grandson a magical amulet said to enhance one's connection with the natural world. The boy treasured the gift and wore it around his neck every day. One evening, while playing by the river, the boy saw a huge moth fluttering nearby. Startled by its size, he quickly hid behind a tree. The moth landed on a nearby leaf and began to devour it hungrily. As the boy watched, he noticed something strange. The moth had a silver glow around it, almost as if it were made of moonlight. Then, just as suddenly as it appeared, the moth flew away into the darkness. That night, the boy couldn't sleep. He kept thinking about this strange moth and couldn't shake this feeling that something important had happened. Unable to rest, he got out of bed and went to his window. Looking up at the full moon hanging in the night sky, he noticed for the first time that it seemed to have a strange silvery glow. Suddenly, the boy remembered the moth and realized that it must have been a moon moth, a creature of the night that only appears under the light of the full moon. Determined to find the moth, the boy put on his jacket and crept out of the house. He walked cautiously towards the river, his heart pounding with anticipation. Upon reaching the riverbank, the boy looked around for any sign of the moth, but it was nowhere to be found. Just when he was about to give up hope, he saw something strange in the distance. It was a faint silvery glow coming from behind a large rock. With renewed determination, the boy walked towards the rock and peeked around it. What he saw took his breath away. Behind the rock was a small cave, and inside it, hundreds of moon moths were gathered, their wings shimmering like silver coins in the moonlight. The sight was so magical that the boy stood there mesmerized, not wanting to break the spell. But his wonder soon turned to worry. As he watched, he noticed that the moths were in trouble. They were trapped inside the cave by a thick layer of cobwebs spun by giant spiders that blocked the entrance. The spiders, sensing the presence of the moths, began to creep closer, their beady eyes gleaming with hunger. Seeing the danger the moths were in, the boy knew he had to help them. But how could he defeat such large and scary spiders? As he pondered, he remembered the magical amulet given to him by his grandfather. Could it help him in some way? Taking a deep breath, the boy placed his hand on the cave wall and closed his eyes. He focused his thoughts on the amulet, hoping it would give him guidance. Suddenly, he felt a surge of power flow through him, and a plan quickly formed in his mind. Opening his eyes, the boy reached into his pocket and pulled out a small pouch filled with dried herbs. This was a special blend that his grandfather had taught him could repel spiders due to its strong scent. Quickly, the boy sprinkled the herbs around the cave entrance, creating a barrier between the spiders and the moths. The spiders, sensing the danger, retreated, hissing in annoyance. Taking advantage of the distraction, the boy ran to the cave entrance and began to pull on the web, creating a hole big enough for the moths to escape. One by one, the moths flew out of the cave, their silver wings catching the moonlight as they soared into the night sky. The boy watched as they disappeared into the darkness, feeling a sense of satisfaction knowing that he had saved them. But his moment of triumph was short-lived. As the last moth flew away, the spiders, enraged by the destruction of their webs, charged out of the cave, their beady eyes fixed on the boy. Trapped with nowhere to escape, the boy closed his eyes, waiting for the worst. But the attack never came. When he opened his eyes, he saw that the spiders were frozen in place, their bodies turned to stone. The boy couldn't believe what he was seeing. Had the spiders just been turned to stone? And if so, why? Before he could ponder the mystery, he heard a voice behind him. Turning around, he saw the most amazing sight. The spiders frozen in place, a beautiful woman with wings made of moonlight stood gracefully. Her eyes, which shone with the light of the moon, were fixed on the boy. She looked at him for a long moment, and the boy couldn't help but feel a sense of awe and wonder. Finally, the woman spoke. Her voice was like the tinkling of bells. She said, "Do not be afraid, young one. I am the Moon Moth Queen, and I am here to thank you for saving my people." The boy was stunned. He had never imagined that the moth he had seen earlier would turn out to be a queen. The Moon Moth Queen continued, "You have shown great bravery and kindness by helping our people, and we would like to reward you." The boy blushed at the praise and stammered, "Oh, it was no trouble at all. I just couldn't bear to see those poor spiders eating all those moths." The moon moth queen smiled, and it was a smile as radiant as the moon itself. "Your heart is pure, young one, and that is a rare and precious thing indeed." She then reached out her hand and touched the boy's forehead. A wave of warmth flowed through him, and he felt a sudden surge of energy. The moon moth queen explained that she was bestowing upon him the ability to communicate with animals as a reward for his kindness. The boy's eyes widened in amazement. This was beyond anything he could have ever imagined. He knelt down before the moon moth queen and thanked her for the gift. From that day forward, the boy could understand the language of animals. He used his gift to talk to the birds, squirrels, and rabbits in the forest, learning their ways and understanding their needs. He became known throughout the land as the boy who could speak to animals, and his reputation grew with each passing day. One day, while walking through the forest, the boy came across a group of hunters who were arguing over the best way to capture a wild boar that had been terrorizing their village. The hunters were planning to use traps and snares, but the boy, remembering the cruelty inflicted on the moths by the spiders, couldn't bear the thought of another creature suffering. Secretly, he went to the boar's den and talked to the animal, explaining the danger it was in. The boar, who was a wise and gentle creature, listened to the boy's words and agreed to let him lead it away. The boy then led the hunters to a different part of the forest, where he told them he had seen the boar. And although they never did find the animal, they left the forest believing that they had been outwitted by a clever beast. As the years passed, the boy grew older, but his connection to the natural world only grew stronger. He became a protector of the forest and its inhabitants, using his gift to ensure the balance of nature was maintained. And so the legend of the boy who could speak to animals was passed down through generations, a reminder that even the smallest of creatures can teach us the most valuable of lessons. And that's the end of the video. Thank you for watching, and see you next time.